You are now listening to the Artist King podcast.
Episode 18, Artist King podcast. I am your host, DTM. This week we share the Artist King panel discussion, part 2 from the past Tuesday, September 16th, hosted at Burnaway, titled The Importance of Creative Development, with a great panel featuring Ann Rawls, Nikwa Gay, and Hez Stalcup. In this podcast, we will hear the complete panel discussions as various important lessons and experiences are shared, plus questions from the audience. The panel discussion is part 2 of the 8-week Artist King discussions going on around Atlanta, including Burnaway, C4 Atlanta, Binders Art Store at the new Ponce City Market, and Wonder Root. The next panel discussion is Tuesday, September 23rd at Wonder Root, and it goes from 6:30 p.m. to 9 p.m. and features Wonder Root Interactive Media Manager Floyd Hall, artist extraordinaire Neil Hamilton, and writer and publisher Milton Davis. For a complete listing of the panel discussions, please visit artistking.org/2014.html. We want to thank our Artist King sponsors for their continued support throughout the year. The law offices of Deborah Gonzalez, Binders Art Store, Atlanta Tech Village, C4 Atlanta, Wonder Root, Burnaway, RevolveSkate.com, and Velocity Screen Print. Now on to our panel discussions. We have Shaniqua Gay, she's a fine artist, and we have Hez Stalcup, and she is a dancer. I will give them each a few minutes to introduce themselves, tell us more about the artwork that they do, how long they've been doing it, and what motivates them to do their art form. Okay, we'll start from the end with Ann and work our way over.
Okay. I don't talk good. I'm the old lady on the panel, obviously. I've been making art sort of since I was a kid. They let me draw on the bulletin boards at school. And I was on and off committed to the visual arts. I also did theater some and off stage. And I started really showing as an artist when I was about 30. Before that, I wasn't really committed very seriously. But what happened was I got involved with a group. I got involved with a group of women in North Carolina, a group that was called Center Gallery. This was in the late 70s, early 80s, and it was, post the second wave feminist art movement, Judy Chicago and all that, and we all got together when Judy Chicago had her piece at the San Francisco Museum, and it opened. We had a little dinner, and Callahan back there did some of the same things here in Atlanta. So I had been pretty shy and wasn't very pushy about showing my work, but here I was with this group of women. They were very supportive, and we had a gallery. And we had shows, we had group shows, we had theme shows, and you could apply for a one-person show. So at some point I finally had a one-person show in Harbor, North Carolina, and I started getting to other things and blah, blah, blah. I lived in North Carolina until 1995, and I was doing pretty good there. I got a statewide artist grant. I was in shows at most of the museums. But then I moved to Atlanta, and because my husband got a job, and I didn't know anybody, and I was a little depressed, and I drove a lot up and down the East Coast. But first thing I did, I got with a group called IVAC, Individual Visual Artists Coalition, which I don't think exists anymore. But one of the programs they had was working with kids through the Youth Art Connection, rest in peace, which up until recently was the program of the Boys and Girls Club. And I got 2 young artist apprentices, a 10-year-old boy and a 12-year-old girl. And they saved my life because I was depressed. I didn't know anything, and suddenly, you know how kids will do. Anyway, and then a few years later, I got a call inviting me to start a group in Atlanta, a chapter of the Women's Caucus for Art of Georgia. And so in 1999, we put out a call, and we became a group in February 2000. And we've been going almost 15 years, and the ladies in the second row are all from that group. And we have group shows. We don't have a space yet. We'll have maybe someday, but I found that suddenly I had an audience. I had somebody to play ideas off of, and whereas my career has not gotten to the point where it had in North Carolina. Of course, Georgia doesn't give grants to individual artists, but I have managed to keep my brain alive, and in part thanks to these women, and keeping my showing alive. And suddenly, this year, I'm having a really good year.
Awesome.
Anyway.
My name is Shaniqua Gay. I'm also the old lady on the panel.
I think we all are.
All the old ladies on the panel. So I'm a Georgia native, originally from Georgia, probably the only one. Any other Georgians in the room? I'll take what I can get. I artist all my life. I'll say I'm an artist all my life because I'm the kid who drew on their mother's walls, and she let me. And so that greatly impacted and helped to develop the person that I am in regards to being a creative. So outside of drawing, I also did a lot of spoken word. I did dance, and I'm a graphic designer also by trade. So on a plethora of perspectives in regards to the arts. I guess how I got started in understanding that art is a profession was probably between elementary and middle school. I understood that I could draw my friends' posters and get paid to do it. I picked up very, very quickly. I used to do these little note cards of Looney Tunes and sell them to my family members and to my mother's companies and workplaces, and sold them for $0.25. I still have people who are my mother's friends who kept those things because they were like, I know you're going to be somebody one day. And so I used to draw on people's pants, characters on people's clothes and jackets. I used to do murals in the school. And so I learned at a very early age, hey, drawing on walls can do something, and you can get paid to do it. I went to the Art Institute of Atlanta. I went to the Art Institute of Atlanta for fashion marketing and graphic design. I kind of put down my pencil or any other creative aspects about me and just play with the mouse, because that, from what I understood, would feed me. And so, and so that was what was most important at the time. And so I put my art on hold, and that was pretty much a hobby. I did travel professionally a good little bit as a spoken word artist. I did really good, but that was not going to feed me. That's what was most important to me. And so, for whatever reason, I caught the bug again, kind of picked up my pencil again, put down the mic and picked up my pencil. But I really began to, really push toward my art career professionally probably about 2005. I'll say about 2005. And what really inspired that, I met with a friend of mine who's in marketing and advertising. I find that I develop best when I'm not in a silo. And silo meaning I'm not in specific sectors of people. So, artists, we all feed on each other. We all bond with each other in that respect. But I find that when I speak to the marketing and advertiser, when I speak to the business professionals, they think differently than I do. And so when I kind of go outside of my box, that helps me to develop in a different way. And so my friend told me to write a business plan. And that means using the left side of my brain, which I did not want to do. But I said, well, I'll say for me, as an artist, I'm not naturally structured. So I'm all over the place. I probably have ADD or something like that. I don't know. But I'm all over the place. And so to sit down and structure myself took discipline. But I did the discipline. I wrote my business plan. And so therefore I was somebody. And I went out and I was like, all right, I'm going to start my art career. That's what I thought. And so I went up on Bankhead Highway. At that time in 2005, the printing industry was still pretty rampant. And so I went up there and I was going to sell my artwork to some people, and that was just going to get me started. And so I met a fellow local artist named Doyle Cloyd, and Doyle became my mentor. And he introduced me to a plethora of artists. He told me, before you sell your work, let me introduce you to some other people. And he put me on a path that I am where I am now. I can definitely contribute him to just introducing me to a plethora of artists, and it just made all the difference. But I'll say that my career started, again, with the business plan. That I said, this is what I want to do. So, you know, what they say, my grandmother always said, write it down and make it plain. And so a business plan made me write down and say, this is specifically what I want to do. And so from 2005 to now 2014, I've been working as a professional artist, doing a whole lot of other things, but specifically working toward my passion. I've done exhibitions. I've traveled pretty well. I was just telling them I'm getting ready to leave in about 2 weeks to travel globally, which I've never done before, but to do that for independent study purposes, just to develop yourself. So I know when you put yourself in new spaces, you just develop differently. And so that's what's important to me. My body of work ranges from church women to abstractions to amalgamations of men and deer. So I'm all over the place. I am. I'm all over the place. I don't like to say that I do a specific type of work because I don't like feeling like I'm boxed in, which goes back to I may have ADD. And so, and so that's pretty much the makeup of me, and I'll pass.
Hey, everybody.
Hello.
I'm Haz. Wow, that was so great. I'm still taking in their experiences. I'm a dance artist. I work primarily with choreography and kind of branch off into performance art a little bit. That's something I'm still exploring. I'm relatively new to being an artist. Since 2012 is when I started studying modern dance. So I get to have the unique perspective, or the perspective of that I'm not new to life, but I am new to this art form. And it's been a really great experience seeing where this artistic eye has been building since forever. And that doesn't change, like you retain that. But when you start to learn a new skill or a new way to express it, suddenly you have all this buildup and you have this desire to really just let things unfold. And between that and showing up a lot, I went to a lot of dance and I went to a lot of art shows. I was able to start presenting work, and then people asked me to do shows, and it had its own kind of escalation. It's been a lot of hard work, but Atlanta's a really great city to be an artist. I think there's a website that said it. I don't know if someone said it. Okay. But Atlanta's the #1 city to be an artist right now. It's also been my personal experience that Atlanta is really accessible. It's a very informal community in a lot of ways. Like, you can go to a lot of shows and meet different artists and get into discussions and end up collaborating before you know it, which is really one of the reasons I love Atlanta. But yeah, so I've been showing work at galleries and at dance spaces. I've shown work at Dance Chance Atlanta, which is one of my favorite programs, and I'm going to totally plug it.
Please.
It's anybody can apply, and you have a month to make work. It's through Atlanta Ballet and Wonder Root. So I recommend everybody look up Dance Chance Atlanta and come to it. Put your name in, make work, because I really do believe everybody should dance. Because if I didn't believe that, I never would have started dancing. So, but I was also, I am one of the leap year artists in residence at Mint starting this month. So Atlanta's been very, very kind to me, and I'm really excited to be making work particularly my focus is to make work in untraditional spaces, because I really love dance as an art form, and I feel like the art audiences that go to see fine art and paintings and visual art often don't cross over with the community and the audience that goes to dance performances. And one of my goals is to just see how to blend those two spaces and art forms together, and to get more people that are coming out to see work, see a whole entire different kind of work, albeit ephemeral.
Very good, very awesome. So let me, yes.
So let me ask you,